So, welcome to Twitter 101. Today we are going to be focusing on what Twitter is as a platform, how the algorithm works, and how you can utilize it to market yourself as a streamer. Just a quick introduction, Twitter is one of the oldest platforms on the internet as far as social media goes that is still relevant. It came out in 2006, and it is still one of the top social media platforms for discoverability and growth on the internet. It has 340 million active users as of 2020. So if you were here for the TikTok or if you saw the TikTok seminar, you realize that it is considerably less than TikTok, but it is still quite a huge amount of people that actively use Twitter today. And there's over 500 million tweets per day, which I thought was kind of cool little statistic to throw in there. So why use Twitter? Twitter is all about the now. It's all about what is happening right here and now. So just little brief snippets of your life that have to deal with your brand. And it's a great way to communicate with another audience or even with your current audience and keep them up to date on what's going on in your life. So you can share small stories and advice, help drive new viewers into your stream, interact with your audience, and develop relationships with sponsors, which is a huge one that you want to kind of keep in the back of your mind. When you're developing your Twitter, a lot of major sponsors are looking to see what your Twitter, specifically your Twitter's presence is like, because that's where you're going to be able to put out your sponsorships and advertising that brand along with your own. So let's talk about the timeline on Twitter. It's actually kind of interesting how they do it. So there's two different ways that you can view your timeline. There's the latest tweets, and there's the top tweets. Latest tweets, just the way that it sounds, it places tweets in chronological order, but it even though it shows posts in real time, not all of the posts will show, and that's because the Twitter algorithm is trying to increase engagement, and so they're going to be looking for that kind of stuff. Even if it's on latest tweets, it still uses the Twitter algorithm, just not as heavily. Most people by default have top tweets and they never change it. A lot of times they don't even know they can change it. And this is where the algorithm is heavily played. The tweets that have a lot of engagement, a lot of likes, follows, if there's a poll, if people are engaging in the poll, those are going to happen first. You'll still see recent tweets. There's like a whole ranking system for how the algorithm pushes content onto your feed. But you'll notice those with higher engagement will be seen first. And the more you scroll, the more you'll find. So far, are we tracking? We have any questions?
We are tracking.
Okay. So let's talk about a little bit more on the learning AI of the algorithm for TikTok, or not TikTok, excuse me, for Twitter. Users are shown content based on their previous tweet engagement. That shouldn't say video, but like I said, engagement is really big. How many likes, how many comments, retweets, interactions a post gets, that's what's going to be shown first. An interesting thing about Twitter is if let's say you're following me, right? And I'm following AI Candy, and you probably have no idea who AI Candy is, right? But if I like one of her tweets, it will show up on your Twitter feed. And this is something that I really want to like heavily discuss because Twitter is very unique in its platform where they don't really regulate content. As long as the content that you're producing doesn't harm anybody, it's not targeting hate groups or anything like that, they don't mind what you post, right? And so I say that because there's a lot of NSFW content on the internet. I started using Twitter a long time ago to follow a bunch of artists, for example. And a lot of Twitter art trends involve NSFW content, and very much so. So I see a lot of lewd things on my timeline, and I have to be mindful that if I like that content, my followers are also going to see that content, and that's going to represent who I am as a brand. So not just lewd content, I mean, any content that you like, just be aware of how that content can represent you as a brand as well. And then the last thing is topics. This isn't one a pretty cool one too. People who are fluent on Twitter will actually tell the algorithm that there are certain things that they're looking for. I put a little coffee cup here because, like, let's say I'm interested in becoming a professional barista, right? I can tell Twitter, I can put in the topics. It's literally called topics. I can put in there and say, I want to see things about baristas. I want to see things about coffee. And it will pull up advertisements, any kind of tweet or anything that the algorithm finds that are using words that revolve around barista. So it could be coffee, it could be beans, it could be cacao, it could be like all those things. Even though I don't follow them, it'll put that content into my feed. So what you say in your tweet can help push your content to people that aren't even following, or people that you're following aren't even following. So that topics, understanding that this is something that is out there, can kind of help you figure out how you want to word your tweets when you're making them. Any questions about the algorithm?
No.
All right. We'll keep moving on. All right, so here's some posting advice. Like I said, I'm no Twitter expert, but I did do some extensive research, which I have credited at the end of this PowerPoint so you guys can see where I got my sources from. But we'll just go right into it. So being consistent. Being consistent kind of seems like an obvious one. You know, it's like if I'm not posting, then no one sees my content. But what is being consistent like? What does that mean? So first and foremost, being consistent will increase your standing against other content creators. If I post once a week, and then I post today, and then I don't say anything again for a week from now, people more than likely aren't going to remember who I am, because Twitter has so many tweets. Like I said, we go back to that second slide where it says there's 500 million tweets per day, and tweets are small, so you can get away with posting multiple times a day if you want. But it will boost your chance for people to see your content, right? But you also got to find that line between informative and annoying, and that's where things get a little convoluted. I did a lot of research trying to figure out like what the magic number is. There really is no magic number. It seems to have to do with your prominence in social media, what your social standing is. Twitter is very, I don't want to say the word judgmental, but the content that you're putting out is how much you can put out is based on how much influence you already have. But for small content creators, the average safe zone is 2 to 5 posts per day. And that's if you're wanting to use Twitter more often and increase these chances of being found. 2 to 5 posts per day is pretty good. I think I personally will try to get 1 per day, and that does pretty well for me. But yeah, this is just based off the research I found. This is a good number for us specifically. Promote engagement. This is a big one. So this is what's going to trigger you through the Twitter's algorithm. This is what's going to really make Twitter go, oh, hey, wait a minute, like their content is good. Like people are engaging with this content. Let's push it out further. And so by promoting engagement, there's a few different things you can do, right? You can add a poll. Most common, I see a lot of streamers on Twitter, they'll post like, what game should I play, or things like that, which is pretty good. I would avoid doing that too much. You want to have like, even though that aligns with your brand really well, there are other kinds of polls you can do, like silly ones, like waffles or pancakes. I see that one all the time, and it always does really well. Like they won't even comment; they'll just click their vote and they'll move on. But that counts as engagement. That'll push your content through. That's more people who can see your face and try to learn more about you. Memes always do well because people will see a funny meme, they'll want to retweet it, they want to show their friends. Meme culture always prevails, like always prevails. Thought-provoking content, just maybe something that you thought of the other day that is just kind of goofy, or like, whoa, I never thought about that before. Post it, just 1 or 2 sentences, and you'll actually see some engagement when they go, oh snap, I've never thought of that before either. Like, you know what I mean? So things that really get people engaged in that content. And then mentions and hashtags, which I actually have 2 slides specifically for each one of these, and we'll go into this a little bit more. But above all, make sure it aligns with you as a brand. So even if you're posting meme content, make sure it's meme content that aligns with your streaming persona. Like I'm not gonna post a COD meme on my Twitter because I don't play COD. I don't even play FPS games. Like, so if I posted a meme like that, people would expect me to play those kind of games. So even though it's funny and I might get the joke, I would avoid using that. So that's what I mean by make sure it aligns with your brand. So far, we're good?
Perfect.
No.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Cup, get out of here. All right, so let's talk about hashtags. Now, in the past, Twitter was very important that you used hashtags. Like if you didn't use hashtags, your content didn't go anywhere, right? But now, in today's times, hashtags have a negligible impact on posts. And what I mean is that I'm not saying that it doesn't help your posts, but I'm saying that it's a very small percentage, right? But it also depends on what hashtags you're using. So like if there is a trend going on Twitter, you can capitalize on that trend and use that hashtag, and people who are looking specifically for that trend will be able to find your content. So that's what hashtags are really used for. Same thing with TikTok. It's if someone is specifically looking for a trend, if they're searching for it, that hashtag is going to help you boost through the algorithm. But also be aware of how others are using the hashtag that you choose. I know a lot of people use, hashtag small streamer support or small streamer community. Just scroll through, click on the hashtag. Actually click on it and scroll through how other people are using it, because you want to make sure that that hashtag aligns with how you want to be represented as a brand. And a lot of these hashtags are becoming more spammy than good. Like the small streamer support one is a big one. It seems like a good idea on the surface level, but when you click on it and you scroll through, literally it's just filled with people spamming their I'm live message, like the I'm live links. And that's not going to look good on you.
Those never do well anyways.
Yeah, they don't. And it's not going to look good on you as a content creator, because it's going to make you go less. It's going to make people see you less as a person and more of a bot. So just be aware, be aware of the hashtags you're using and how other people are using it and how it reflects on you. Mentions. Mentions are an interesting one. It can help you as a small content creator, and it can hurt you as a big content creator. So when this says low social authority accounts, it's not saying like, oh, you're a peon, right? But like, what your following is like, right? So if you have less than 10,000 followers on like, well, even less than that, it's like 100,000. Like if we are very small. If you have less than 100,000 followers on any given platform, mentioning people can help you. It can help you combine communities of the person that you're mentioning, and you guys can kind of bond over what's happening. So like, let's say you do a collab with another person on a team. Absolutely, you want to mention that person. Even if you're a bigger content creator, you'd want to mention that person because you guys are affiliated with the same team. But just be sure that both you and the person that you're mentioning have a similar branding, because not only will what they post now start to affect you as a brand, it will also, what you post will affect them as a brand. So be conscious of how you're mentioning people, because it actually has shown that mentioning others can hurt you and be detrimental to your account if your brands aren't aligning. And specifically mass mentioning people. So if you go in a Twitter post and you mention like half the people on the team, you might just be trying to support them and shout them out, but Twitter will actually flag that post and they'll hold your account for a while. They won't show it to other people until they can be sure that you're not a bot. So mentions are good, but also take it with a grain of salt and make sure that what you're doing doesn't hurt yourself or the people that you're mentioning. Yeah, Twitter is very political, as I've come to find out. Let's talk about links. So many small streamers, I go to their page and I scroll and it's just, I'm going live links. Studies show that including links actually hurts you more than helps. Not just I'm going live links, not just your Twitter link, but like your merch link, or like it could be just a dumb link somewhere. People don't click on them on Twitter. People on Twitter don't care about links. Which is where, going live posts are ineffective. Now, as a streamer, how can we get around that, right? Because it's important. We want people to know that we're streaming, and it doesn't hurt you to have that out, but you have to be tactful with it. So the way I would say, and I wouldn't do this every day, I would do this maybe once in a blue moon, right? Have your primary engagement post with a secondary link post in the thread, right? So what does that mean? It means you make your first post, like, and it can be something random, like, let's say recently I've been playing Skyrim, right? And I'm like, who's ready to punch some dragons, right? And then, so the people who are already following you are going to understand what you're saying, right? You post that, or you can even press the plus button and underneath it be like, find out how it goes tonight at whatever time you stream, and post the link there. So the link should not be your primary engagement post, because people are going to just scroll right past it. But if they are interested to know that sentence, like who's ready to punch some dragons, that might pique your interest if you don't know what's going on. Like, what is she talking about, punching dragons, right? You click on that thread, you find that there's a live link. Now you've got the engagement. You've piqued someone's curiosity. Which goes back to that this right here where it says, think like a consumer first. Think about if you were the person that found that post and you had no idea who that was, right? How many times have you gone through Twitter and actually clicked on someone's I'm live post? Like,
Never.
Yeah,
Never,
like,
not once in my life.
right.
But I don't use Twitter.
Yeah, that's true. But like, there's no personality to it. There's no incentive. All I'm seeing is, hey, look at me, I'm live. I think I've clicked on 2 or 3 in my life. So think about that. Think about what it would be like as a consumer first before posting that link.
Savvy!
All right. Let's talk about media. Studies have shown that media is the most powerful method of increasing engagement, not just on Twitter, but on every single social media platform. But Twitter, you can put just like words, but it's actually shown that putting some kind of media, like literally any kind of media, is enough to triple your retweets, likes, comments, all of that kind of engagement, which is exactly what you want, right? The kind of media that you post is important, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be too crazy or difficult or complex, right? I know Zavi is very familiar with this website. Canva is a great tool for easy infographics. So you can just put something, you still want to have clear text from Twitter because you want to still hit those topics that we talked about earlier. So you still might want to say, I love this game or something, and then have the infographic that's saying like what your stream schedule is. I see tons of people do that, like what, not just their stream schedule, but like what they're playing on those days that week. That kind of infographic does really well, and it gets people to go to your bio and click on your your Twitch link and everything like that naturally, right? But you can also use the built-in GIF tool. You don't even have to get that fancy. You can literally just go and look for a GIF of whatever game you're playing and just pop it in there, or whatever topic. Like, you'd be like, which is better, tacos or burritos? And then just put a GIF of a dancing taco. You will get so much more engagement just because there's something unique for people to look at. They're like, oh, wow, that's pretty, that's shiny, right? What is going on here? And you'll get a lot of interaction with that media. Here's just a few final tips that I have, just real quick, that I found. Be aware or beware of cookie cutter content. What is cookie cutter content? Basically, let's say you make a really awesome TikTok. It's got 50K, 1,000 views, like all these likes and shares, and you're like, wow, this is really good content. Don't post it on your Twitter. It's gonna be really hard not to, but don't do it, because more than likely the people that saw that on TikTok are gonna be on your Twitter as well. And like, if you're posting it on your TikTok and your Twitter and your Instagram, and it's all over the place, then there's no incentive for people to follow the other accounts that you have. So just be aware of that. You can repurpose. There's a way to recycle content without it looking like it's the same. But overall, it's not good to post like the same clips everywhere or the same content everywhere, because people will get bored and your content's gonna fall flat.
Would you recommend
No,
would you recommend, even if you want to reuse content, to space it out a lot more?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So like, if I use something on Twitter, I use it on TikTok a month or a couple weeks later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's still, at least they've had a chance to see it somewhere else.
Yeah, no, and that's actually a good point, and that is something that I do advise doing. That's actually something I do with TikTok and Instagram Reels, for example. I'll wait a month and then I'll post it on Instagram Reels. So that is definitely a solid method. Just basically, when I say the cookie cutter content, is people who are doing it the exact same day. They're like bam, 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 bam on all their platforms, and you just like, this is dry. But yeah, if you space it out with enough time, that way, because not all your people on Twitter are going to follow you on TikTok. Not all your people following on TikTok is going to follow you on Instagram. Like, all of that. So, absolutely. If you space it out, there's tact to it.
So,
Go ahead. Skyfall.
What happened?
I think Skyfall's mic might have cut out.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
So, do you go in through the TikTok post and share it through that way to like Instagram and stuff like that, or you post it separate?
I post it separate. And I know we're talking about Twitter right now, but if you choose to use Instagram Reels, the algorithm for Instagram, they actually are looking for people to post original content. So whatever you post on TikTok, make sure you have the original file without the watermarks when you go to post it on Instagram, because
You also would want to resize it.
yeah. Well, if you're doing reels, it's not too terrible, because reels versus posts are different as well.
Yeah, the sizing is, but if you're posting it, if you use Streamladder, they will convert it right to the right size for you.
Yeah, that's true as well. That's a very good point.
And that takes you like 2 seconds instead of redoing it twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
We good so far on recycling content.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So the second thing here is be personable but be relevant to your brand. So Twitter, Twitter can be like we had mentioned, is very small snippets. You've only got so many characters that you can put in a post before it starts becoming a thread. You want to reach people. You want to reach them quickly, and you can post things that are like way off the wall, as long as it still is relevant to you as a brand. And it takes a while to discover who you want to be as a brand. I mean, that's honestly like, who do you want to be? Who do you want people to think about when they think about, you as a streamer? But think about your streaming persona. Think about the things you enjoy talking about when you're on stream, and try to convert that into small snippets of story or media for people to consume when you post it. So, like for me, for example, I try to be like chaotic in my streams. So my Twitter posts, I try to make up like random ADHD thoughts, and those tend to do fairly decently. So just kind of think about your streaming persona and apply that to your tweets. Meme culture, I said this before, I'll say it again, I'll say it until I die. Meme culture always prevails. Don't take yourself too seriously. Oh my god. You just meme it. Just meme the heck out of everything. Those always do well. That's pretty self-explanatory. The times of post make little to no difference. TikTok and Twitter both are very good at showing, giving your content equal chance to be discovered regardless of what time you post it. At this point, I think YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram are the only ones left that are your time zone matters. And like when you post matters. So Twitter is very good at making sure that your content goes somewhere regardless of time. I think the only times that I saw major dips, and I say major, but it still wasn't really that major. It was like a couple thousand people were less online than normal, and that's like at midnight, like in the middle of the night, and it's like those times that are like weird for the US and for the UK. That's when you see a major dip in activity on Twitter, but even then, Twitter's very good at getting your content out. And identical tweets will kill your engagement. And I feel like that one's really self-explanatory, but I still feel the need to mention it because I know a lot of people will, like if you've got an event that's coming up and you're super excited, you're super pumped, let's say it's like in a month you've got some big event that you're doing. It's okay to post about it and remind people. Just make sure that post isn't like literally the exact same post, because it will kill your engagement. People will scroll right past it, and it will hurt you in the long run, because Twitter will see that people are scrolling past your content, and it will show it to less people because it'll flag your account for being a bot. And this goes not only with you trying to get user engagement on an event that's coming up, but posting your live link with the exact same message every single day. So if you've been doing that, I recommend stopping that and give the Twitter algorithm a chance to know that you're a real person. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna post this Google Slides so that you guys can read through these. These are these two forms that I found, or not forms, articles that I found are really, really good reads, and I highly recommend that you just scroll through them because it'll give you a better understanding, a more in-depth synopsis of how the algorithm works. But do you guys have any questions? I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording now, and then we can discuss.